Hello, gorgeous Virgos, and welcome to January 2020. Can you believe this? Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing to be here in this moment in time. I'm of the opinion, and I don't want us to get too hyped up on this whole like January, we have to be these things already. January is actually quite a complex month. There's a lot of competing energies. There's a lot of behind the scenes shadow work getting done and a lot of external expansion, and the two are working together. So there's a nuance to January. There's visionary energy, but there's also a sense that it's so big, we're needing time to nurture into it and not to rush ourselves and not to expect to just like blast through things, right? That's a collective note, but that's also definitely true for Virgos. Capricorn season is a really beautiful time for you all. That's that fifth house energy. You have a lot of energy in your fellow earth sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is getting lit up. I mean, there's so much energy there. South node of the moon, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful time right now for the Capricorn clan. And that heart chakra, that creative work, and the way it affects you is you giving yourself permission to express creatively, to express romantically, to have that flair, to have that creative playfulness that's almost childlike, and to challenge you to tap into that more and more and more. And the note that came up was pretty clear for Virgos as I was feeling through your energy. And I'm just going to kind of read what I wrote because I think it's useful. Oh, a couple cards already wanted to come out first, though. Page of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles. Love it. It's perfect. Where were you 6 months ago, back in July when we were in our last eclipse season? Because the other thing about January is we're going through an eclipse season. We're closing. We had one eclipse late December. We're having the second of the set on January 10th, full moon lunar eclipse in Cancer, in your 11th house, in your community, in your friendships, in your greater collective purpose in life. You're really getting revolutionized to how are you using your heart and how do you connect that to your environment, right? Really, really gorgeous energy for Virgos. But yeah, so, where were you 6 months ago in July? Where were you when this last eclipse happened in Cancer? Because I can guarantee you that in those 6 months, you have done and changed so much about your path. And that it's a really important time for you to give yourself the credit for how much you have changed. Because you might come into January and say, yeah, I haven't really done that much. I'm pretty much the same person. It's very easy to, Ten of Wands, to hold on, Two of Cups, to hold on to this idea that you haven't done much, right? Or to just feel like, it's kind of day to day, but these things add up over a series of months and you can kind of notice that you've changed shape. This is about letting your heart chakra blossom and flower and grow and be big. And it requires a certain level of faith and belief in the process to allow that heart to be shining external to you, right? And that's what we're checking in with here today, Ten of Cups. That's what we're checking in with for you in January. And as we move through your fifth house, all this energy in Capricorn, including Saturn and Pluto conjunct on the 12th, it's really bringing to life where you may be feeling like you have to hold yourself back, or you have to restrict, or where you have to stick with the familiar and challenging that. Queen of Swords. Another really fun thing that's happening though is Venus is going into your oppositional sign of Pisces on the 13th. That is really going to light up and make your love life very juicy for a few weeks. And just that connective, sensual energy, Temperance, is going to be very strong for you Virgos. So I'm liking that. But yes, as we move into Aquarius season, we're also moving into sixth house energy. Now, Virgos rule the sixth house. It's your natural energy that has a lot to do with service. It has a lot to do with healing our physical bodies and how we show up in the day-to-day, our day-to-day rituals, right? And that focus, Three of Wands. Love it. Wow, you have some really beautiful cards. I love this for you all. But sixth house energy is really useful, and it's a great time of year for you all. So we have, Mercury is moving into Aquarius, the sun moves into Aquarius, and then we have a new moon. That's all happening the last couple weeks of January. And as we move into that sixth house energy, this is a great time to check in with how you want to show up in your life. So we start with this huge revolution, like this huge heart chakra, blasting open. Oh, and not to mention on that full moon lunar eclipse, Uranus is also going direct in your house of vision, in Taurus, fellow earth sign. There's a lot of big energetic morphing that's going on for Virgos the first part of the month. Then as we move into 6th house energy, this is where we get into the practicals. Okay, you felt through energetically this change in skin, this change in identity, this shift out. Now, how do you want to apply that? What does that look like in the grounded day-to-day? And even though, yes, it's good to be grounded, it's good to be in the details, keep in mind that it still requires a certain level of faith. You can problem solve and activate a lot of action in life, right? But you're only going to be able to totally understand that mechanism at a very tiny percentage. And that's the way it's meant to be. The rest of it, you've got to relax into the trust and really have faith, because the other part of the note I have is one wave has subsided. You kind of rode a wave from June to December, right? You rode a big arc of a wave. It was pretty profound. That wave subsiding. Now in January, we're activating the next wave. And part of the faith here, part of the self-knowing here is that you know that there's always a next wave, there's always a next step, and that you don't, and that level of faith allows you to be really present with, yes, these are the things I can do today, but I don't need to know the entire mechanism in order to have faith in my journey. Now I have to tell you all, you're getting some kind of infusion of grounded support here, and I love this for you all. I think it's fantastic. Of course, it's so important that we feel vibrationally and emotionally in tune with what we want, right? Like that's the most important thing. But it is so nice when we get those supportive boosts when it comes to getting a little bit more, a few more resources, whether that's money, housing, family support, opportunity, job creation, something that makes you feel at ease, right? It makes you feel really held and accounted and seen. And so there's a big infusion coming in here for you at the beginning of the new year of something very crisp, very grounded, very clear coming in to guide you on your path. Now take that. Don't question it or overthink it or think maybe this is all going to just disappear. I can't even trust this, Accept it. Accept this stuff coming in. Really pay attention, This is a great time for you specifically. This just came to mind to do a synchronicity journal or an abundance journal. I really love to do this where you start writing down all the things, you just take stock every day, all the things that went right, all the synchronistic little details that went right, starting to really align yourself with just looking through that lens and amplifying it more and more. And I think that's a really helpful way to soothe ourselves into accepting good things. Now, it's really funny though, because we have this 10 of Wands. And this is a state of resistance. This is often where we feel like we have to do things on our own. We have to be self-contained. And yes, you're capable. You can take care of things. You can make things happen. You can take action. You don't need necessarily to have people around you all the time helping you out. But this is also about where you feel like you have to do it all and that you're in charge of it all. You have to get your hands, your fingers into the very highly technical weaving of the world. And it's funny because it's like there's no way that you're going to be able to weave with your little busybody self here in the physical world at the level that the soul and energy is weaving. So the 10 of Wands is a reminder to stop trying to force things, stop trying to force your agenda, stop trying to force, maybe you have a calendar and you're like, this is what I'm accomplishing this month, this is what I'm accomplishing this year. Let it go and listen to your soul. Because the thing is, you guys, it doesn't have to be hard. I think you want to have this really robust, go-getter, let's make this year amazing attitude. And then, you may self-judge thinking, well, what if I don't get this all done in January? It's okay. You know why? I mean, 2 of Cups, 10 of Cups. Are you kidding me right now? I'm loving this stuff. This is so good. these are cards of ease, right? These are cards of balance. These are cards of deep love and community. And these are emotionally soft cards. These aren't about productivity in the traditional sense, right? These are about taking more time to be with family, taking more time to be with friends, taking more time to listen into your soul. So it's really interesting with you because you get this huge infusion of practical support and maybe some new projects, some new avenues opening up, some new inspirations. You know, you're doing stuff on the ground, and yet one of your big messages this month is make sure you're carving out plenty of time to just be in your emotional space, to savor your relationships. They're so important right now. And there's a really strong feeling of this being the place where actually your abundance is coming from, where you are tapping into money energy. It's coming from giving yourself these soft spaces to focus on this aspect of your life. Here's that Venus in Pisces, right? Here's that energy that's just so much about we actually accomplish more by giving ourselves this type of soft time. And of course, this can also relate to you possibly meeting somebody or going deeper in your relationships and really talking about shared visions and what you want to create and build emotionally. You know, one of the interesting things, I'm just going to bring this up. The Secret was that book that blew up, I don't know, like 15 years ago or something, and it was all about how, you know, vision board and you list out everything you want, right? And if you just like have it on the board and you just want it, that's how you're going to get it. But The Secret is problematic in the sense that it a little bit skips what actually is what the real goal there is, which is to feel the love, to feel the joy. And so when we're in that feeling place, we're actually able to take the steps and receive the physical stuff. And so that's just a reminder of that. And it's interesting too because we have the Queen of Swords here, the boundary queen, right? Who knows when to say no to things and when to say yes to things, who knows when to clearly state what she needs. And, you know, you may be finding you're having some deeper conversations, you know, all these deep relationships and job positive things coming in for you. They do require that you kind of show up and you are very clear about what you want. So you may be having to let yourself express your opinion on something. This is also January, rather than it being a time of adding a whole bunch of projects onto your plate. And this is a note for the collective as well. It's not about being like, okay, it's 2020. It's this big manifesting commitment year. I better get on it. And yes, Jupiter's in your 5th house right now, in your heart chakra. This is really good energy for 2020. But instead of trying to add 5 or 10 things onto your list, this is about paring it back down to the things that are really lighting your soul on fire and not being afraid to do so. Not being in a state of thinking that if you delete things from your list that you are in lack. That's what we've been trained, that if we're not staying busy all of the time, that we will fail, we will be destroyed. And I know that not everything is voluntary, that life is very complex and that sometimes we can't lighten our load, but there are details that can be lightened, always. And, you know, not to get too conspiratorial, but the way that the labor industry, especially in the US, works, where it keeps people so busy and working multiple jobs, is so that they don't have time to be emotively connected in, and that stops people from being fully empowered, right? It's very effective for those in power who want to keep people down. If they keep us busy, we are not allowed to be fully activated, right? Anyway, that's a whole tangent we don't need to get into right now, but my point being, give yourself permission, if you can, to drop something, to drop it, to put a firm boundary there and let it go and not put that weight on yourself. Your final cards are really powerful. Temperance and Three of Wands. These are definitely abundance cards. Temperance is all about calibration. And once again, what was I just saying about dropping things? Not filling your plate up to the brim. Don't start off January trying to have like this crazy schedule where you're like, oh, I'm going to start waking up at this time and doing this workout and doing these phone calls and being this ambitious and getting on this new training, and start soft. Temperance is all about tempering, right? Rather than burning things away or using really intensive substances. We're trying to find ways to soften into life. And what's interesting for you is that logic of softening into focusing on your relationships, focusing on to what feels good and nurturing, actually brings in more energy, actually brings in more potential, more open doors, more positivity. So this is where that faith part of the journey is really strong for Virgos, because I know you guys are go-getters. I know you want to get in there. You want to make things happen. I love that about you. I love that about me. Being a Virgo moon, I'm right there with you. But the more we let go of the critical part of Virgo and we start tapping into the very celestial, deep wisdom part of Virgo, which is a huge part of the Virgo energy map, the more we are actually leaning into the true nature of Virgo, which is about abundance and creativity and the fertility of ideas, the fertility of creation. You know, it's a harvesting energy. So letting your true nature shine through, that it's about harvesting. It's not about putting your back into every single thing. And things that are hard, things that are heavy, things that are burdensome, put them on the back burner and see what happens. All right, I'm shuffling because I'm pulling a final card for us from the Animal Totem Tarot. This is a beautiful deck. I've been feeling through it. The messages that the creator of this deck made are just so beautiful. King of Wands. I love it. Okay, so that's the Tasmanian Devil. Let's read his message. He's been coming up a lot. The Emperor and the King of Wands have both been very powerful recently. I gotta find my royal family. Oh, I found him. So, Tasmanian Devil. Here's the message from the book. I know you think butter wouldn't melt in my mouth, but don't be a fool. I command and expect nothing but respect. You would do well to hold a certain amount of fear in my presence, because whether I bless you or not depends on how you make me feel. Ooh. You see, this is all about me. How you think or feel is irrelevant. Keep that in mind, and we will get along just fine. That is a really bold message. Let me show you the Tasmanian Devil. But here's the thing. That's so true, right? We don't want to admit it, but we have to prioritize how we feel and really own that space. And we can't just live our lives constantly trying to calibrate for others and make others comfortable and make others feel that it's okay. We can't fill our plate up with activities that feel subpar, that feel kind of empty, that feel like they're not really feeding and sustaining us, and expect to be beacons of light, beacons of hope to give back anything. So while that message is quite brazen, right? It's quite in your face. It's quite, it's like on the surface seems very egotistical. It's about being self-full and really selective with where you're putting your energy. The King of Wands is not messing around. He's going to do what feels right to him. He is going to lean on his wild nature to guide him to the things that feel correct. So that's a really big message. You've got all these easeful cards. Like, this reading is amazing, you all. I'm loving this for Virgos. I'm loving seeing you guys in this easeful energy. But your requirement now is to trust into it more. Lean into it more. Experiment with how easeful you can feel and see what happens next. Okay, I have a little toast for the new year, for January ahead, for all the good stuff coming your way. This is my sparkling water. I'm going to be toasting you. These are messages that I felt through for Virgos, and I'm so happy with the feeling I have for you all. May the waves you ride this year each feel better than the last. May your world be suffused with a sense of wonder and presence. May adventure come in the form of creativity, connectedness, and deep down good nurturing. May your soul's song sing out from your very core and light you up from within. May your glow radiate and change the world. Cheers to you, my friends. I am so excited for your 2020 and all the beauty that's ahead. This is a year of easefulness, creativity, listening to your heart, and trusting. If you haven't joined me on Patreon yet, I would love to see you over there. Thank you to those of you who have joined me. It means so much to me. I'm adding a lot of new content, and I will be doing a lot with these specific transits, things like Saturn conjunct Pluto, some rituals about how to close out the South Node as we shift. These are things that will be coming up throughout the year 2020. I'll be giving you lots of guided tools and check-in points so that you can come hang out with me a little bit more. You also learn a lot more about me as a person over there, and I also have the weekly write-ups, so you get a feel for every week and what's going on in the sky. All of those good things are over there, so I would love to see you over there. You can also find me on Instagram at SarahVerba or on my website SARAHTAROT.com. My calendar has not opened for 2020. It's going to be limited for the first half of the year, so if you want one of those sessions, I would highly recommend that you email me so that I can get you on the notification list that will alert you when I open that calendar, and then you can snag one of the one-on-one reading spots with me, because I would love to work with my Virgo family. And last but certainly not least is my dearest friend Tiffany at PinkLune. She made this crown specifically for me, but she has so many beautiful crowns. She's working on this beautiful brass collection, hand-hammered work. So if you haven't checked out PinkLune yet, I would highly recommend you go check out her Etsy store. I'll leave her link and all of the goodies in the description box. I'm sending you so much love, my Virgo family. Have a beautiful January and beginning to 2020.